Today I'm here to answer one important question I've received on my WhatsApp message. And the question is related to the public charge rule and a special for those people who are looking for ways to become immigrant in the United States of America. And the question is very simple, or might be complicated depending on how you see it. The question is, who is not affected by the public charge rule? Because there are so many people who are looking for these opportunities. Some they're already in the US, but how does that affect others? And who is not affected, who is exempted from this public charge rule? So in this video, I'm going to explain who is not affected by the public charge rule if you want to apply to become immigrant in the United States of America. Welcome everyone, my name is Ernest Boniface Makulilo, and in case it's your first time to be here, welcome to the EBM Scholars Show. And you are in the right place, a place where you can get a lot of information about ways you can be able to succeed in America and other countries around the world as an immigrant, but also if you want ways to get education, scholarships, and ways to succeed. So I went ahead and put down some of my notes here, some of my key points which I'll be talking, and I'll be reading some of this one already written down as to why some of the group of people are not going to be affected. So for those who do not know, I already made a video about the public charge rule. So this is a new requirement, a new regulations to restrict, or just to make sure that once immigrants are coming to America, they are not going to be public charge. They are not going, or they are not coming to become depending on the US government to get a certain assistance. And remember, these assistance can range from cash aid to food stamp, to medical, and so many other ways. There is a video I will put here on the link below, which I already explained what is public charge and how do you determine that one and the things of that nature. And I will make another separate video on how to fill the form of the public charge, because there is a form specific for that. I will make a tutorial video on a step-by-step on how to go about it. But on this video, as I mentioned, I'm going to explain who is exempted, who is not affected by this regulation. So there are certain number of people or certain categories of people will not be affected by the new public charge regulation, and these are as follows. So number one, before we go to talk about who is not affected, we need to know when did this regulation start, and at what point who is going to be in that cutoff point. The new regulation officially started on February 21st in the year 2020, this year. So the public charge rule applies to only people who have received or who are receiving the public benefits, the benefits from the government from February 21st going forward, from February 21st, 2020 going forward. So if you received maybe 2 years ago, if you received 2019, 2018, 2017, you are exempted. This doesn't affect you. But if you are receiving today and you are going to apply for the green card, yes, this will affect you. So you have to be clear on that way. So if you have received the public benefits from the US government, from the federal government, from the state, prior to the start of this regulation, it doesn't apply to you. But it doesn't mean that means if you are receiving after that date, yes, you are going to be into that public charge regulation. Let me make it clear, because sometimes maybe it might be confusing. I'm talking for the people. This is specific for people who are already in the United States, or who have been in one time of their life, they have been in the United States of America. It will be different if you live already, you have never been to America, because you have never received any public benefits from the US government. So the people who are exempted, first of all, if you receive the benefits before this date, it doesn't count. But if you are still receiving the benefits, right now I'm talking to you, it means you are public charge already. So that's number one. You have to know. But this regulation doesn't affect people who are already green card holders. The question you can ask me, why? It is very, very simple. It's no brain at all. This regulation is to make sure that someone who is coming to America or someone who is already in America doing adjustment of status to become green card holder, this person is not going to be public charge if he's becoming, if that person becomes a green card holder. But for you, you are already a green card holder. So if you're a green card holder, you are not going to the US Embassy to fill the DS-260 to apply for the immigrant visa to come to America. Or you are not going to, if you're in US, you are not going to the immigration office, USCIS, to apply and to become green card holder while you're already a green card holder. So this one applies to the people who are applying to become green card holder. So if you are a green card holder, at the moment I'm talking to you, this regulation doesn't apply to you. So if you want, you can continue. If you are receiving public benefits, you can continue receiving the public benefits without any problem. But the other question you can ask me, but currently I'm receiving the public benefits, and probably after 4 years, 5 years, I'm planning to become a US citizen, to nationalize to become a US citizen. Does this regulation will affect me if I want to become a United States citizen after meeting the requirements of becoming a citizen, after being green card holder for 5 years for any other green card holder, or being 3 years if you got a green card through marriage? What should I do? Should I receive? I need these public benefits. I need medical support. I need the food stamp. But will this affect me to become a United States citizen through naturalization process? No, it doesn't affect. The public charge rule doesn't work for the people who are doing naturalization. It is only for when you are going to get a green card at the first time. Why it doesn't affect people who are becoming naturalized citizen? Remember, the public benefits are for the people in America who are taxpayers. So if you're a green card holder, you maybe for 5 years or for 7 years, you are part already of saving the country, whatever, paying the benefits, paying the tax, you can receive those kind of benefits. So it doesn't affect you from becoming a US citizen. There is no, like, you have to do a means test, these public benefits, then they are not giving you citizenship. No, it doesn't affect that way. So that is another category of people who are not affected by the public charge rule. Another category is, let's say, I'm an American citizen. Then I'm married to someone from another country. But me as an American citizen, I'm receiving public benefits. My wife doesn't receive public benefits, but my wife is the one who is applying to get a green card, either naturalization, or either through adjustment of status, is already in the US or is out of the country. My wife is not required, is not affected by the public charge rule because my wife doesn't receive public benefits. Does that make sense? Because my wife will be treated herself. The person who is applying that person is subjected. Have you ever received the public benefit? The question is not, is your spouse? Has your spouse or your kids? No, you, the one who is applying to get a green card. Have you ever benefited from public benefits? That is the question will be asked when you are filling the public charge form. If yes, they're asking about you. When and what benefits did you receive? For how long? So that is something you have to know. So if your spouse, for instance, is the one receiving public benefit, but you are not receiving public benefits because, let's say I'm not an American citizen, my wife is an American citizen, my wife, if he's receiving public benefits because their child is getting food stamp, but I'm not receiving that, when I'm filling the form to determine whether the public charge form, I will say I've never received the public benefits from the US government because I'm not, but my spouse is receiving. So you have to know that if your spouse, your relative is receiving, that is not you. They want you as a person, as applicant. Are you the one receiving the public benefits? So that is something which is going to be working on that particular area. But another thing is, for those people who are under humanitarian relief, people who are applying for the asylum, people who are applying the refugees, this public charge rule doesn't apply to those people. So, but there is very important thing to know on this particular point. What if, let's say you are here, you are applying for asylum. Asylum takes a longer time. Let's say I'm giving them, let's 2 years process. But while you are waiting maybe 6 months, going to 1 year, then you started dating someone, you decide to get married. And you say, okay, this asylum takes longer time. What if I stop asylum process and then I do adjustment of status because now I'm married, my wife is, or my spouse is American citizen. What if I decided to change and do the adjustment of status? Or if you have got a good job and the employer wants to petition for you, wants to sponsor you for green card, how will that work? So while you are applying as asylum, or you are applying as refugee to get green card through those ways, you will be exempted. This regulation will not apply to you. But in case before you get your green card, you decided to change, okay, I'm stopping asylum process and then I'm going to process the same green card but through my spouse, through family, marrying American citizen. That means now the public charge rule will apply if you have been receiving the public support, public benefits from the US government. So when you are filling that form, the public charge, you will say, yes, I'm receiving the public benefits, and these are the reason. But if you are a refugee, if you are applying for asylum, that will be waived automatically because you are a refugee or you are under humanitarian relief. So that is something which is very, very important to consider. At what point you have to change, at what point, you know, if you want to continue the same process as the asylum or as a refugee, if you change that one and you have been receiving public benefits, you have to be keen to know that then you have opened the can of worms, which they'll be making sure that the waiver will be removed and then you will be subjected to the public rule regulation. So once you will be filling the form, for the public charge, you will indicate that you are receiving the public benefit and you are subjected to that public benefit regulation. So those are the categories where someone is not subjected to the public charge rule. So in case you haven't understood any part, please let me know. But this mainly applies for many people who are already in the US or who lived in the US at one point. Because if you have never lived in the US at all, this doesn't apply to you because the public charge rule doesn't apply to you. You have never received any public benefit from the US government. So you will say no. And on the video, when I'll go to make a video about the public charge, the form, how to fill, you will understand better. There is a question. Have you ever received the benefit? You will say yes or no. So if you have never been to US, the answer is no. If you have lived in the US, but you have received this benefit after February 21st, 2020, you will say yes, and you will indicate what type. But if you are applying in the certain categories I mentioned, those kind of things will not apply. So thank you so much, everyone, and I appreciate for your continued support. Make sure you keep watching these videos. If you have any question, put it in the comment below. Okay, goodbye, everyone.